You know, it's famously been said, the two most important days of our lives, the day we were born, our origins, and the day we find out why, our meaning. You know, we humans, we're not happy just to exist. We want to know why. Why am I here? Where have I come from? What is the meaning of life? Well, where are we going to turn for answers to those deep questions? Why not try the opening pages of the Bible? The book of Genesis, that word just means beginnings or origins. Genesis takes us right back to the beginning and answers that question, where have we come from and what is the meaning of life? Listen to the most famous opening line ever penned. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God. We're not here from nothing. We're not just accidents straying through an empty universe. God is the source and center of all things. We're here on purpose, and we're here for a purpose. God is a good personal being, according to the Bible, not just a material force. And we see how good and powerful he is in the way that he speaks forth creation. God just speaks, and the world comes into being. A beautiful world comes into being. In the first 3 days of creation, God speaks order out of what is chaotic. He separates light and darkness, land and the ocean. And then in the next 3 days, he fills what he separated with beauty, plants and trees and humans and animals. And God is displaying through the world how good and powerful and beautiful he is. In fact, at the end of each day, God says, it's good. After making humans, it goes up a level. It's very good. God loves the world. He loves people like you and me. And this world is full of divine pleasure. And we were created to enjoy the world, sensing and experiencing the pleasure of God in it. Maybe that's what you feel when you score the winning goal for your football team, or you sip a flat white or a coffee, or you have a delicious meal. We're enjoying a world that's not just functional, it's beautiful. Behind all that beauty is God. And then we find out, well, where do we fit into the story? In Genesis 1:27, we read, so God created humans in his own image, male and female, he created them. Human beings are made in the image and likeness of God. We're not just DNA and biology, we are sacred beings. We've had 3 children. Every time our little newborn has gripped my little finger with their fist, and you feel the presence of a new human being. Every time a newborn, but also at the other end of life, when I've held the frail, dying hand of a loved one, you feel the significance of human life. We're made in the image of God. We're sacred beings. That's why every human, regardless of their performance or pay grade, every human matters. And as the story continues in Genesis 2, we find Adam and Eve, these early humans, are then given tasks and given meaning in life. What is the meaning? What does it mean to be human? Well, 3 things we discover with Adam and Eve. Firstly, we are made for a relationship with God. Adam is a physical being, but God then breathes into him the what's called the breath of life. It's actually God's spirit. It's as if God is breathing into Adam his personal presence and saying, I want you to live with me as a kindred spirit. I want you to be in my presence and full of my presence. That's our human origins. And it doesn't matter what you stuff life with. It doesn't matter how many careers or hobbies or material possessions. Even if you get the hot tub and the puppy and live in the castle, you'll never have enough stuff to replace the original meaning of life, which is to be in a relationship with God. St. Augustine put it famously, you made us for yourself, O God, and our hearts will always be restless until they find their rest in thee. But not only a relationship with God, a vertical relationship, we're made for horizontal relationships. The only thing in that perfect good world that God made that wasn't good is for Adam to be alone. Adam needed Eve. We need each other. It's not good for humans to be alone. Loneliness and isolation, they plague our modern society in a really bitter kind of way. And it's not just a problem for certain types of people, old or young, it's affecting all of us. We all get plugged into digital content and platforms, and we can feel isolated, surrounded by voices and people, but alone. It's not good to be alone. We're made to be rooted in community and family. We need to make that our priority. It's part of what it means to be human. But then God also said to the humans, be in relationship with me, be in relationship with one another. And then he said, fill the earth and subdue it. In other words, you've got work to do. Work and rest, culture and nature. These societies and communities, God, these are good things. God intended the humans. The early world was not a vacant show home. He intended them to See it as a project in partnership with God to fill the earth with his beauty. You know, when humans flourish and do the right things, the environment, the world flourishes. But when we turn to evil and living selfish lives, we ruin our environment. And of course, so many of the environmental problems that we've had today, that we face in our world, these things, they come from humans turning away from God's way and ruining the world around us. Where's all that come from? Have you ever stopped to wonder, why is there so much brokenness as well as beauty, so much pain as well as pleasure? Genesis 3 gives us the answer. The early humans turned away from God. And as they turned their backs on God, they brought darkness and brokenness into the world. And we've been living with it ever since. Genesis 3 depicts Adam and Eve in the garden, and the serpent comes and he basically tempts them away from God. He makes it sound as if God's the killjoy, God's the problem. He says to them, if you take that fruit and eat it, you'll become like God. You can be your own people. You don't need to live God's way. Have you ever faced that voice of temptation? We seem to constantly be told that God and religion, these are the killjoys. They'll ruin your life. You need to live your way. But it doesn't work. As they bit into the forbidden fruit, it was rotten on the inside. So often we find as we turn away from God, it leads to brokenness. So how can we find our way back to God and rediscover our origins and meaning in life? Well, a little clue is given in Genesis 3:15. God promises, even as things go wrong, that he's going to send someone born of a woman. An offspring of a woman will come and crush the head of the serpent. Someone's coming from our human race, a new Adam who will destroy evil, break the power of death, and bring hope back to our human story. Fast forward to the New Testament, the Messiah will come, and he will, through his death and resurrection, bring hope. Fast forward to the very last page of the Bible, and we find that the Bible that opened in a beautiful garden, creation, closes in a beautiful world, new creation. Paradise lost will be regained because the Messiah has come. We can revisit our origin story and rediscover meaning through Jesus Christ. The most important day of your life was the day you were born, your origins, and the day you find out why. We're made for a relationship with God. Why not consider what it might mean for you to revisit that relationship with God through faith in the Messiah, Jesus? That's our origins. That's the answer to our human desire for meaning.